In the business world, the rearview mirror is always clearer than the windshield. Warren Buffett. You have the power to be the boss of your own life. I'm your host, Monica Allen. I'm a wife, mom, entrepreneur, best-selling author, lifelong learner, and your biz bestie. I have a love and passion for all things small business. Growing my own company from $700 to over 7 figures annually, my goal is to bring you inspiration, business-focused topics and tips, encouragement, and a community that helps you launch, grow, and scale your business, whether you are a dreamer, a side hustler, or a seasoned entrepreneur. You are listening to the Become Your Own Boss podcast. Today's episode is brought to you by the Become Your Own Boss Planner. As we approach the end of the year, it's time to think about the goals we'll be setting and the tools that'll get us there. This isn't just a planner for daily tasks. It's your roadmap for making things happen. The Become Your Own Boss Planner combines your big goals with those everyday to-dos, plus important elements to balance those things that are important to you as you grow your business. The link to learn more about the planner is in the show notes. It's also available to you on Amazon. Today, I want to talk to you about 2 incredible Netflix documentaries, Martha and Mr. McMahon. They reflect on the lives of 2 very different yet equally fascinating entrepreneurs, Martha Stewart, the queen of lifestyle branding, and Vince McMahon, the mastermind behind WWE. At first glance, these 2 couldn't be more different, but when you look closely, you'll find so many powerful business lessons in their stories. Lessons on resilience, storytelling, authenticity, and making tough decisions. So let's jump into it. First, let's start with Vince McMahon, the man behind the WWE empire. And I mean, it is a billion-dollar empire. I remember my uncle watching wrestling when I was a little girl, and I thought it was the stupidest, most ridiculous thing. But people love it. And love Vince McMahon or hate him, there's no denying his genius when it comes to business and branding. Here are a few lessons I took away from his story. First, don't dwell on the past. Vince is a forward thinker. He doesn't waste time on regrets or failed ventures. He learns, adapts, and moves on. For example, after the XFL failed, after just 1 season, he didn't let it define him. He pivoted and kept WWE stronger than ever. The takeaway for us, learn from the past, but don't live there. The future is where your opportunities are. Second, storytelling is everything. Vince built WWE by creating larger-than-life characters, unforgettable rivalries, and cliffhangers that kept fans coming back for more. Now see, that's something I never knew about it. The cliffhangers part, that's ingenious. This is such a great reminder that business isn't just about the product. It's about the experience you create for your audience, your customer. Ask yourself, what's your brand story? How are you connecting with your audience on an emotional level? Next, Vince teaches us the importance of putting logic over emotion. He made tough decisions, ones that weren't always popular, because he believed they were best for the business in the long run. At one point, he even rehired someone that had sued him, and he rehired them because he thought it would be good for the business. And finally, competition is a good thing. The WWE grew stronger because of competition with WCW. Instead of running from it, Vince leaned into it, and eventually he bought them out. The lesson here, don't fear competition. Let competition push you to innovate and be better. Now I want to talk about Martha Stewart. I learned so much about her from this documentary, and truthfully, I admire her so much more than I did before seeing this. Her documentary is packed with lessons on resilience, innovation, and staying true to your vision. And here's what stood out to me. First, Martha was always looking for a void, something that was missing. She noticed that people wanted to live beautifully, but no one was teaching them how. So she filled that gap with her books, magazines, and TV shows. For us entrepreneurs, this is a powerful reminder because great businesses are built by solving problems or addressing an unmet need. The more people you can reach, the greater success your business will have. You may notice whenever I speak with a business owner, my first question is, what problem were you trying to solve when you created your business? Your business has to solve a problem. It has to meet a need. There has to be a need for it out there, and a need great enough to help you make the revenue that you want your business to make. Secondly, when it comes to Martha, she was often criticized for being a perfectionist, often labeled the B word for being too direct and assertive, which is such a double standard when it comes to a man, because if a man did that, nowadays it's a little bit different, but he would have been seen as strong and powerful and pushing the envelope. But Martha could be direct because she knew what she wanted and she knew her brand. And Martha said herself, I was trying to educate. Her attention to detail wasn't about being difficult. It was about delivering value to her audience. And that is why she was the first female billionaire in this country. Absolutely amazing. But here's the takeaway for us. Don't let criticism steer you away from your purpose. The very things that people criticize you for might be the qualities that set you apart. Another thing I loved about Martha's story is her authenticity. In her first book, she showcased her real life, raising her own child, tending her own garden, and cleaning her own house. She wasn't selling an unattainable dream. She was living it. Martha was also the first woman to truly see the marketability of her personal brand, her personal life. As someone in the documentary put it, Martha Stewart was the first influencer. Long before social media, she invited people into her world, building a deep connection with her audience. People felt like they knew Martha, and that connection came from trust. Martha herself said that having the trust of your audience is crucial. She knew that if people trusted her, they'd keep coming back. So the question I'll ask you is, how are you building trust with your audience? Are you showing up consistently and delivering what you promise? Because when you do, you're building the foundation for a long-lasting relationship. Now, let's look at these two icons and what they have in common. First, they're both master storytellers. Whether it's through wrestling storylines or beautifully photographed recipes, Vince and Martha knew how to connect with their audience on an emotional level. Vince told stories through his wrestling characters. Martha told her stories through her decor and food. Secondly, they understood the importance of resilience. Vince faced controversies, lawsuits, and competition. Martha faced public disgrace after her insider trading scandal, which I'll tell you, this kind of made me angry. Back in the day when it happened, I didn't know the whole story. I was in college maybe, I don't even remember, but I didn't care that much about it. But after seeing this documentary, and it's definitely told from her perspective, but it really just seemed like they were out to get her because she had such a pristine, perfectionist-like air about her. Kind of seemed like it was a bit of a witch hunt because the scandal was not about anything dealing with her publicly traded company. It was an entirely different stock, and the value was around $40,000. So it really seemed like they were out to make an example of Martha Stewart. That's just my opinion, my takeaway from the documentary. That really doesn't have anything to do with us as entrepreneurs, other than don't get involved in insider trading or do your best not to do that. Anyway, regardless, both Martha and Vince came back stronger than ever. I was curious because Martha was a billionaire before this scandal. And I wanted to find out, well, where does she stand now financially? And so when I Googled, it says that her net worth is around 400 million. Not bad. So she definitely came back from that. And finally, they both weren't afraid to make bold decisions. Whether it was Vince pivoting WWE or Martha turning her personal life into a brand, they showed us that success often requires courage and forward thinking. And just really quickly, to go back to resilience, as entrepreneurs, whether our companies are big or small, we must possess resilience. So I just wanted to add that piece. So what's the big takeaway here? Whether you're a fan of Martha, Vince, or both, their stories remind us that success is about more than talent. It's about resilience, which I mentioned before, storytelling, and being willing to take risks. Now it's your turn. What's one lesson from today's episode that you can apply to your business? Maybe it's looking for a gap in the market, leaning into your authenticity, or figuring out how to tell your brand story. Let me know. I'd love to hear from you. You can DM me on Instagram at Become Your Own Boss Podcast, or you can email me at my email address, which is monica@monicaallen.com. And lastly, you can leave a review to let me know which lesson resonated with you. I would love it if you go out and leave a review. We need some more reviews on the podcast. And if you haven't already, go watch Martha and Mr. McMahon. I can only cover a little bit here, but they are both very good documentaries. Mr. McMahon is a series, and Martha is, I want to say, like maybe an hour and 40-minute documentary. But they're both very good. They're both on Netflix. And they're not just entertaining, but they're packed with inspiration for entrepreneurs like us. Thank you for listening today. Until next time, remember, now is the time. Now is the time to level up, leave a legacy, and become your own boss.